Greetings, ladies and gents. I've been doing a bit of thinking and I've decided to redo some of the earlier tutorials that I made on some of the basics on how to create Warcraft Machinima. The reason why I've decided to do this is when I think back to when I first started off making Warcraft Machinima, even though there were tutorials around, I found that some of them were lacking a few pieces of key information which would have made my life a lot easier when I first started out. So, these tutorials that I'm going to be releasing, they are going to be some of the very basic of the basics. They'll be very similar to what I've already released, but they'll contain a lot more detail. These tutorials are designed and they are targeted at folks who are very new to the whole aspect of making Warcraft Machinima. So, the first thing I need to do is make an assumption, and that assumption is that I'm assuming you have all the tools needed to actually make Warcraft Machinima. Now, if you're wondering what tools are needed, you can watch my Tools of Machinima video, but to quickly sum up, you need something to capture footage, so in my case I'm using Fraps. You need software to actually edit the footage, I'm using Sony Vegas. You also need to be able to access the character models. You need the Warcraft model viewer for that. And you also need the World of Warcraft client itself and the Wrath of the Lich King expansion installed as well, in order to use the map viewer without it crashing. That's pretty much the basics of what you need in order to start making Machinima. Now, for those of you who are already used to the whole, creating Machinima, this tutorial isn't really geared at yet, and you might find that some of the things are moving a bit slow, but I'm making sure that for those who are new, understand what it is exactly that they're getting into. So let me close that down, so I'm starting literally from the beginning. Once you've got the whole thing set up, the WoW model viewer, start it up right here. Just give it a couple of seconds to load up, and when it loads up, by default it'll have a slightly different colour background. You need to have a pure coloured background. Have either green or blue because they work best with your footage. So what you need to do is click View and go to Set Background Colour, and you can click either this square here, which is for pure green, or pure blue. Next, you need to choose a character model. Now you can either construct one or just quickly make one here for the sake of illustration purposes. I'll just make a blood elf. Here we go. Now, one thing I need to get right off the bat off my chest straight away is, because people always make this error and I get a lot of PMs, assuming you've just installed Fraps and you're using it for the first time. Let's say I gave this character a chest piece right now, just a piece of equipment. If you were to hit record now with Fraps, the default button is F9. When you press F9, what's going to happen is your character will lose his equipment, and the reason why is because the F9 button in WoW Model Viewer is clear equipment. This is what will happen. So what you need to do is open your Fraps, go to Movies, and look at the video capture hotkey and change it to something else other than F9. And I've chosen Num Alt, which is the star key at the far right of my keyboard. So once you've chosen your own video capture key, you are pretty much set to go. So what I'm going to do right now is start recording the character. And just to quickly say, to move the character models is easily done. If you hold the left click button and move it left and right, this will rotate the character in virtually any direction you want. If you hold the right click button, this will simply move the character left or right, so it won't rotate it. If you want to zoom in or out, use the mouse wheel, so roll it backwards to zoom out, roll it inwards to zoom in, or you can click the mouse wheel in and move the mouse slowly forward to get a more accurate zoom. So this essentially covers how to navigate the model when it's in this window here. So you now have your model, you got your Fraps open, you are now set to record. So I'm going to now hit record and just get a couple of seconds of footage. Please ignore the constant glitching that you're seeing. I'm using Camtasia Studio to record this tutorial, and it's clashing with WoW Model Viewer, so this won't happen with you, so don't worry. So I've just recorded my footage. Let's say you just open up Sony Vegas now. This is pretty much the outline that you'll have here. So there's my footage. I'm going to click that and drag it and import that into the timeline, and this is what I'll have. Now, another thing that people might notice is the quality isn't high. You can adjust it with this tool here. If you click preview and you can choose that. Though I wouldn't recommend doing that, because when you play your footage, it's going to play it much slowly, and it's going to lag like crazy, especially when you have a lot of footage in the timeline. So for editing purposes, just go to preview and go to half. If it still lags, go to quarter. Don't worry about how bad the quality is, because it's just a preview window. It won't affect your final render. So I've got my footage here, and what I'm also going to do is get background footage into the mix. So I've already got some recorded. Now if you want to get background footage, chances are you won't be able to use WoW Map Viewer, because it does crash if you've got your Warcraft installed beyond patch 2.4.2. So you're probably going to be getting your footage from World of Warcraft. Now in order for you to get background footage from World of Warcraft, you log on, you zoom the character view to 100%. You do that by scrolling the mouse wheel forward, similar to what I was doing here, move the mouse wheel forward. And you hit Alt Z, that will remove your character interface, and you can record your background footage like that. So, I've just imported my background footage. Now in order to get the background footage into the mix, I need to move that underneath the character footage. Obviously you can see a boatload of errors, such as character cutting off, blue coloured background and black borders. So, the first thing you need to do is use an effect called Chroma Key. So, you right click the character footage, go to Video Event Effects, and choose Chroma Key. Select Add, and then OK. Now by default it will get rid of some blue, because that's what my Sony Vegas does. Obviously it's not done it all the way, so what you need to do is click here and choose Pure Blue. Now if you're using a green background, choose Pure Green, but in my case, since I've recorded from WoW Model Viewer with a blue background, I'll choose Pure Blue Screen, so that'll get rid of all of the blue. So I've now got a clean piece of footage. Unfortunately, as you can see, if I move the character footage left and right, it's still going to cut. So the reason for that is because the character video resolution and the background resolution is different. I know that sounds like garble, but to solve this issue, all you have to do is go to this, maintain aspect ratio, which is, by the way, to access this, you right click your character footage, video event, pan and crop. You'll have this window open. You scroll down and choose maintain aspect ratio. By default it will be on yes, so change that to no by clicking this and choosing no. That'll stretch your character footage so it fits, and you also need to do that with your background footage. Same thing, and that'll stretch the footage so it all fits. This basically covers how to import character footage, how to use the Chroma Key effect, and how to tweak your settings so all your footage fits. So this is pretty much the basic of the basics on how to import stuff. Now, another common question will be how to get more than one model into the same scene. Now what you need to do is, if you say I wanted to get another model within this background, I'd have to create a new video track. So in order to do that, I drag the footage down one more layer, and it'll create another video track down here, which allows me to essentially have space for one more. Now rather than record a new piece of footage, I've already got a piece of footage ready here, so I'll just choose this, and I'll drag that. And what I'll do is I'll right click Video Event Effects, choose Chroma Key, add that, and choose Pure Blue. There you go. Now what I'll do is, in order to get it into the same scene here, all you need to do is drag it here. Obviously I've chosen a bad combination of footage, but if I just move that here, you'll notice the character is now behind. Sony Vegas works on a layer system, where whatever's on top is actually going to appear at the front of the screen, and anything under it is going to appear behind. So to demonstrate that, if I was to switch the position of this footage, so I move the Blood Elf down and this footage up, this guy will now appear on top. So if I reverse it again, he'll appear behind. That's all there is to it. This covers how to do some of the most basic actions when starting off with Warcraft Machinima. So stay tuned for part 2. Thank you one and all.